How do you feel on criminality being a problem in America?
I believe that criminality is a class issue here in America and has been for quite a while. Me, myself, being very honest, I've been in the criminal system before. So therefore, I feel like, first of all, what I've seen firsthand, that when you're a minority, number one, the people that you have represented you are more often than not public servants. In other words, from the public defender's office. I'm not saying that some people don't have the finances or their family can arrange them. Whereas if you're a European or a Caucasian here in America, you might have the ability for your family to have the finances. In this legal system in the United States, it is definitely the best representation you have is the better, I believe, the best outcome. And I think you can take that from cases where you see from O.J. Simpson having John Cochran. You can see from Casey Anthony with her trial. She had Jose, I can't quite think of his name, but high-profile attorneys oftentimes, or we've seen it, get the best results for their clients. I've seen and been a witness to if there are cases where there are narcotics or drugs involved, that it's documented, I believe also, that the people of minority or of color get greater sentences, far a bit more severe sentences than their counterparts that are white or well educated. In the sentencing part of that, the minorities, like I said once again, I think it's pretty much documented. They get double the sentence or more of a severe sentence. Whereas if you have a sentencing where oftentimes for severe cases of crimes that a person of not colored, Caucasian, will get probation or will get type of things like community corrections, work release, and where I have witnessed a person Hispanic or black will get 5 years, 3 years for the same crime, and then also have to come out and be marked a felon, and then have to be on parole or take different classes like domestic abuse, family training, things of that matter. So yes, I do very much feel like criminality and just the justice system as a whole in the United States is definitely a case of class and finances or whatever you have it. Once again, I'll tell you that I've been part of the system, and in no ways do I feel, if everyone had the opportunity to have the same representation, an attorney, a face that's well known versus a public defender who's fresh out of college and no experience, I just feel like it's a great disparity in our system.
Do you think criminality is a class issue in America?
Yes.
Why?
Why? Well, I divide classes up in financially. And I've discovered in the Denver area by watching their TV that the more affluent people financially and social status, I feel they get better treatment and quicker treatment. They're not lodged in jail for months and months, and I don't feel that this is fair. It should be the same whether you have a low income or a high income, or if you live in the slums or you live in a penthouse someplace.
Is that it? Do you think criminality is a class issue in America?
I do think that criminality is a class issue in America because I feel like once you're born, your family's in a social class because that's where they're starting. And, well, if you think about it, if you have everything, you're not going to want to do anything to gain more out of it. But there are a few cases where some people don't feel like they have enough. But then there are cases where if you're in the lower class, you need to do certain things to be able to survive. Some people join gangs because that's the only choice they have to be able to protect their family and stuff like that. And so they end up doing stuff to be committed to the gang. So they do stuff like burglary and stuff like that, murder maybe. And yeah.
Do you think criminality is a class issue in America?
Yes, I do. I think that race, finance, stereotype, all that plays a big part into how people in this country at this point see people that are in trouble, criminals or drug addicts or people that sell drugs. It's a big problem. And I don't think that this administration is helping the situation any. I think that our new Attorney General, he's trying to change some of the laws put into place to try to help Hispanics, blacks, whites, or anyone that does a crime, that they don't get the jail sentences that they used to. And I don't know if I quite understand all of it, but I know that he is not good in that job that he's doing, in my opinion. I just watch sometimes over the last year or two all the police shootings, and sometimes when they have someone that has filmed it and you look back at it and you say to yourself, they didn't have to kill that person. They need to go back to training or what have you. There's stun guns, there's many other things they can do sometimes to injure a person or shoot them in certain parts of their body. I mean, they're trained to shoot and sharpshooting and all that, I guess. I'm not sure, but to me, to watch it, I'd shoot somebody in the leg or someplace where that they wouldn't have to die, but at the same time that they wouldn't be able to hurt them. And the police have a dangerous job, and I totally understand that. And in this environment today, I said, hey, it'd be hard, and I wouldn't want the job. But at the same time, I just don't think in this, where we are right now in this country, we're in a bad place, and people are hating people, or it's all coming out. Trump bought all the people that were racist out, and it's just not good. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Do you think criminality is a class issue in America?
Yes.
Why?
Because I think because people who have less money probably need to, they probably have tougher lives, and that's just what they've been raised in most of their lives, and it's just the community around them is just so bad that I guess it kind of infects them too. That's my answer.
Do you think criminality is a class issue in America?
I think there are two things that drive criminality. One is greed and one is need. Okay, so I think that if that's the premise of criminality, then I think that it is maybe a class issue, because the need is great in the lower classes to meet basic needs of living. And if you can't meet your basic needs of living, then it's likely that you might be forced to do some criminal activity to meet those basic needs. Mm-hmm. I don't think that that's out of greed, but I think that if you have your basic needs met, right, then I think the criminality becomes out of greed. That's what I think.
No es un problema de clase.
¿Por qué?
La criminalidad es un problema de valores. Ya sea que usted esté en condición de riqueza o pobreza, si no tiene valores, va a estar su carácter va a ser débil, va a tener debilidad de carácter y va a estar afectado por cosas como la ambición, la corrupción y muchos fenómenos que son criminales y que son característicos a ciertos grupos sociales. Mm-hmm. Eso sí ya es social.
So the question is, do I think criminality is a class issue in America? And personally, I do think it is a problem in America, just because when you or somebody you know is born into a lower class, you are that person that is obviously not going to have the same opportunities or the same chances as somebody in a higher class or even the middle class. And I feel like due to that, I feel like you start getting used to the surrounding area or even the neighborhood that you live in. So coming from that, I feel like when you're little, or even if you just moved into that area, you're gonna get used to everything that you see there, and eventually you start to get the idea that what other people are doing is correct. And obviously it's not something that you're gonna want to do, but you start to get the idea because you're so used to seeing it maybe on a daily basis. So that's one reason why. The second reason why I do think it is a class issue in America is because it's not a matter of wanting to do what you have to do, but it's a need. I feel like if you're struggling, if you or somebody is struggling, they're gonna do whatever it takes to do whatever it is they need to do in order to move forward. You see people like robbing things, you see people murdering things, like they get involved in gangs and stuff like that because it's their only way of survival, it's their only way of pushing forward in life. And I feel like it's really sad that people of a lower class have to go through that because they don't have the same chances as me or some other person has. Like, I'm blessed to have the things that I do right now. I'm a student and stuff like that, but it's just sad to see people struggling in life and having to do things that I never imagined people could do. So I do feel like criminality is a class issue because, when you're living in a hard time, it's just gonna be hard for you to keep pushing in life, and you're gonna have to do whatever it takes to go forward. And from there come, some of the bad things that you do, and from there come the consequences. So there you have it. Criminality is a class issue in America.